Hello, and welcome back to Rogue Reviews number 5, NOCTILUCA. We really should have made number 5 tribes, but we didn't think about that at the time. Let's see what we can do for number 7, shall we? Anyway, NOCTILUCA is an absolutely gorgeous game by the very talented Shem Phillips. It's an absolutely fantastic, beautiful game to look at with so many different colours, plus purple. As you know about me, purple is my favourite colour. So in this game, you are basically exploring a forested world of pools filled with strange creatures called NOCTILUCA. The idea is basically you're trying to capture the hardest essences of these creatures to fulfill various potions which have healing effects, that kind of thing. So at its heart, it's basically a simple dice collecting, set collecting game, but it looks beautiful. This is the kind of games that I wish I'd be able to design because it's very, very simple in its actual outlook, and yet the gameplay is really, really fun, really, really enjoyable, and it's very, very easy to pick up and play. So if you have a ranging of your family for people who are more experienced gamers, less experienced gamers, or older children, younger children, this is absolutely perfect for you because basically an experienced gamer can take this and just enjoy it, whereas a beginning gamer can basically see it as a very, very, well, not insurmountable entry into the hobby. So it's good fun all around. The way that it basically works on your turn is that you collect one of your people and you basically travel across the board from one side to the other. On the way, you are looking for the numbers of dice. You're trying to choose the best number, trying to get as many as you can, really. So, for example, if I went on this line and I chose 4s, I would basically take out all the dice that were a 4. So that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. 5 is really, really good. It's a really good turn. What I would then use, I would use these dice to basically fulfill almost like orders, basically order for these potions in front of me. Now, I would basically be able to put on a green, sorry, a purple, a yellow, and a green, which is fantastic because I've now filled this order. So, because it is a brown one, I then collect the next available brown coin. These count up in value, so the more you take, the more each one the next one's worth. At the end of the round, any spare ones basically get flipped over onto their 1 markers and shared out. So, I fulfilled this straight away. I can choose another one from the ones available, and I can basically use any spare dice I've got left over to fill this. As it happens, I can't have got an orange, no orange left, so I then pass this on to the next person, and they have a turn and carry on. As you can see, as you're going along, basically the number of available moves reduces with each turn. So that basically by the end, a few people have gone left, there might not be actually very many available moves left. Each time you're trying to get as many dice as possible and fulfill the orders, there's a little bit of a question about strategy, whether you kind of stick for a nice mixture of different ones or whether you just pick one colour and hone down on that one. Because as I said, as the orders carry on, these are worth basically more and more and more points. So lucrative wise, you could get more points from just sticking to one colour, or you can kind of basically have a bit of it, fingers in every single pie, for example, because it's terms of majority tokens earned at the end of the round in terms of who gets shared out the extra bonus points. In the second round, you basically flip this over, which reverses the order, lays some more dice out, and you continue. It's a really simple game, but there is so much in there to enjoy. Have you ever seen a game when you get this many dice to play with? It's lovely, and the theme is very, very nice as well. For those people who don't want a massively theme-heavy game, you can get by with this quite simple in terms of like, I'm collecting 4s, I'm collecting purples and blues and oranges and greens. You don't have to overload the theme a bit too much. In terms of what you're aiming for, your secret victory condition, you also are given one of these NOCTILUCAs. So for example, if mine was blue, I will get bonus points for every sort of completed thing I had that had blue dice on. So there's a nice little bit of a tweak at the end to see exactly how much somebody's won at the game. So you don't know for sure, whether you might have a decent idea. Within that though, it is a very, very user-friendly game. Lots to enjoy. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at the board itself, shall we? In terms of the available pathways here, you can see that there's an inner ring and an outer ring. When you set up the game, you place 4 dice in each space in the inner ring and 5 dice in each space in the outer ring. Okay? Realistically, when you get a turn in the first few turns, you're hopefully going to do pretty well because there'll be lots of different options available. But obviously, as more and more people go, those paths are removed. So a first person might be lucky and get maybe like 5 or even 6 for an really amazing turn on here. Whereas by the end of the round, you'd be lucky to get 3 at a time to fill in for your orders. So thinking about orders, what basically happens is there are always 3 cards out available from the 3 decks, which are basically red, brown and yellow. Let's do a little bit of reorganising here. There, that looks nice. So the idea is that each successive order that you fill, you take the top coin. For example, the first one is basically worth 2, then 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, and the final one is worth 8. Very, very often you won't get to 8. So basically what happens at the end of the round, for example, if there are a few left over, these are then basically turned to their value that's 1, and they're distributed in terms of like who's got the most yellow. So for example, if one person had more yellow than the other, they would get all of these. If there were 2 people, they would obviously basically share them, and you get a few extra bonus points. So that's the strategy in terms of which order is which. The other thing that's quite important to note is that some of them have only 4 dice needed. Some of them have 5 dice and a bonus 1, and some of them have 6 dice and a bonus 2. Obviously, the harder it is to fulfill these, the more valuable they are. So when the 3 are available you have to choose from, you can basically have a decision about whether you want to kind of risk it for a more valuable card, but it's a little bit harder to fulfill, or some very, very quick, simple and easy ones. Really, there's lots of choices there. There's not too much depth in this. It's a very, very light, carefree game. So people have a number of cards out from them, partly fulfilled at all times. There is also a solo mode on the back of the board where basically you roll separate dice each time and you have basically a storm that's sort of continually swirling around the actual board and basically affecting it. So basically that's the antagonist in the solo player version. Overall, there is a lot to like about this game. In terms of how it plays, the dice are obviously lovely and tactile. They make lovely, lovely noises when you roll them. The pieces, well, they're meeples really. Not much more you can say about that. They're meeples. The tokens are quite nice, chunky card, so that's good quality there. Overall, the game just feels really, really pleasant. In terms of the dice, they can come in a standard bag. We actually went to the point of making our own bag to basically store them in, a nice drawstring bag, but that was just an option actually that we made at home. So you'll definitely not be let down by the components, you'll definitely go down with the gameplay. It's just a nice, friendly game. If you can see this for not very much money, I would definitely recommend checking it out. If you can play it beforehand, definitely do, just to see what's your kind of game, really. So, let's get back to the table for the final thoughts. So, what do we think then? NOCTILUCA, is this going to be a game for you? I would hedge my bets and say probably. Probably yes it is. It's definitely more on the light side of gaming, so if you prefer lots of crunchiness to your games, then you'll probably feel this has probably not got enough depth. However, if you just want something that's family friendly or just a light relaxing game, this doesn't take very long to play. We're talking about half an hour really for a full 2-round game. Then this is a very, very good start to your evening. It looks beautiful. So if you're trying to get basically a friend or a loved one into the hobby, this is a great way to attract their attention. We have played this quite a lot in our house. All of us enjoy it, my wife, my children, myself. In terms of the mechanics of it, very, very simple. It's a strategy, little bit in there, but there's enough to sort of keep yourself interested. And in terms of basically how you actually organise the cards over which part of time, there's something there too. So this gets a fairly regular amount of game time on our table. We do come back to it. If you can find it available, yeah, I would say probably pick it up. But if you can try and play it first, to see whether sort of the depth and strategy reward is basically right balance for you, then that's probably a good idea. Right, so thank you for joining us once again. If you want to get in contact, as always, you can find us at rogueartistcreations.com, on Facebook at Rogue Artist Creations. Our Twitter handle is at RogueACreations, and you can find me, GM First, at rogueartistcreations.com. Thank you very much for joining us today. As you see, we're going to have a nice mixture of different games coming up in the future. We've already got some plans for a few games ahead, but if you have some interesting suggestions, please let us know. Do go onto the webpage, do join our mailing list, please subscribe, and you'll see lots more from us. Thank you very much.